Good, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for braving the rain to come out and spend your evening with us. I'd remind you to put your phones on silent or vibrate as I bring this council meeting to order for July the 13th, 2026 at exactly 6 p.m. If you would stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge.
Most loving, gracious Father, we thank you for another day in the land of the living. We thank you for another opportunity to serve in decency and in order, and give us the wisdom in the midst of all of us. In his name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Pro Tem Everline,
Here.
Councilor Arnold,
Present.
Councilor Lanneman,
Present.
Councilor Miles,
Here.
Mayor Wells.
Yeah,
We have a quorum.
thank you. Well, again, welcome everybody to this meeting. We will try to get through what is a fairly heavy agenda in a timely manner. At least it will have stopped raining by the time you leave, hopefully. Council agenda approval and review of the any changes or a motion to approve as read.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
At this time, I'll open public question and comment. Any person wishing to address the mayor and town council on an item that is not on tonight's agenda is asked to come to the podium. Speak your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening,
Good evening, Fran.
Mayor and Town Council. I am here as an advocate for a friend of mine. She can't come in person because she is getting ready for bed. And so I asked her if I had her permission to speak to the town council on her behalf. And she said, "You would do that for me, Miss Fran?" And I said, "Yes, I would. I think that her problem is that important that it needs to be brought to the town council." So I am here this evening to speak about Rosie Tajaya. So a couple months ago, she, along with her mother and her sister, went down to Griffin Park to play. She had just gotten a new pair of sneakers, and her mother's words to her were, "Be careful, you're wearing your new sneakers." And so she was mindful of that. And like any 8-year-old, when you see a perimeter around the playground, you walk on it like it's a balance beam and you're on a tightrope. So Rosie was doing just that when she fell off. And unfortunately, a rebar went through her brand new sneakers and through her socks and broke her foot. Her mother let town know, and town, of course, said that they would get the insurance company. Mom had to follow up 2 weeks later because she hadn't heard anything from the insurance company. But that's not what I'm here for. That's an administration thing with her mother. Rosie's very upset because she ruined her brand new pair of sneakers that her mother told her to be extra careful with. She's not worried about her broken foot. She's worried that she didn't follow her mom's guidelines of taking care of her brand new sneakers. I think that the town of Howey-in-the-Hills should do 3 things: buy Rosie a new pair of sneakers and a new pair of socks, and write Rosie a letter saying that they're sorry that the playground wasn't safe enough for her to play in.
I must have misunderstood the first part, Frank, because I thought you said that she went to Fruitland Park.
She went to the park, our park,
Oh, the
Griffin Park.
I beg your pardon.
She is a resident of our town, and she went to our park. And unfortunately for the family, this isn't the first time that there has been an incident. Her mom took the girls out onto a public pier, and her mom went through one of the boards on the public pier. Not just her foot, but her whole leg. So that happened first. And so they stayed off the piers, and now they're playing in the park, and the park's not safe. So, and then apparently the town went out to survey to make sure it was safe, and they found about a dozen or more rebarb sticking out of the ground where children play. But I'm not here about that either. I'm here about this little girl who doesn't feel like her town is taking care of her. 8. And she's lived here her whole life. She doesn't have an experience from any other town but this town. Can we put it on the list? I will text you her name and her address.
Do you have any thoughts on this before we make any decisions, Heather?
I do know there's a claim with the town's insurance,
There is a claim with the
Yes.
town's insurance?
which is currently being processed.
Is that sneakers also, or just medical?
I don't know if it has sneakers. The town can make a policy decision if you would like to buy our sneakers, but the town shouldn't be putting something in writing about apology, because I don't know the facts. I'm sure there's facts that the town's insurance will look at.
This is not to her mother. This is to the little girl. And she's only, and you can check with Sean, I believe the mother is only asking for the medical bills to be taken care of. No pain and suffering, no buy me a new house, no, nothing like that at all. Is that correct, Sean?
We're currently in litigation with Morgan on this question, so we can't really get into that.
I didn't realize that, but that shouldn't be, ongoing litigation shouldn't be discussed at a public meeting.
That's fine.
I didn't-
Absolutely
I didn't
fine.
realize it was Morgan and Morgan.
I didn't realize it was a Morgan case
Now we
either.
know.
I understand.
When that gets resolved, I think the little girl, however that gets resolved, should get a note from the town. Just for you, something for you to take under advisement.
What size is she?
I do not know.
I'll personally buy her a pair of socks and a pair of sneakers. My personal funds. Just tell me the sizes.
Thank you, Counselor Miles. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'll go ahead. Cause I think that we should just.
Thank you very much, Renee. I appreciate that, Counselor Lanneman, as well.
Let me know how much I'll sell you.
And they can't be more than $25.
For a lot. Yeah.
565.70.
I'll help you out.
Yeah.
When you see.
We're talking
Yeah.
65.
Get a four-way split, that makes it.
Counselor Miles, I don't know what you shop, yes.
And we'll just get her a bundle of socks.
We'll ensure that
Yeah, the socks
the
are
cost is
phenomenal.
covered.
Socks like $17.
Her name is Rosie, Rosie.
I have that, how is her last name spelled? I have TAJ.
Hold on, I have to look at it. Hold on. It's TEJEIRO.
JEI.
TEJEIRO.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much for this.
Can you get me her sizes?
I will.
buy
Well,
them?
I would think that probably the young lady will want to go and choose her own sneakers, David.
Hmm?
She'll probably want to go and choose her own sneakers, and then she can just.
Would you like me to
Find out.
bring back
what
the
sneakers
receipt?
They were.
Yeah, bring.
Bring back
them-
the receipt?
Back the
Okay.
receipt and I'll reimburse you.
All right,
Yeah,
Fran,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, thank you very much, all.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I knew that if I brought it to your attention, you were probably unaware of it, and we would handle this. Thank you very much.
And make sure we have your Zelle. How to Zelle it to you, the money.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Andy Everline, 1012 North Lakeshore Boulevard. I wanted to talk about the speed on Lakeshore Boulevard. It's bad. And it doesn't seem like anything's being done. I read on Facebook that this is the week they're supposed to be patrolling and things are slowing down, but we see cars going so fast, and it used to be more on the south end, but now it's everywhere. And, you know, I don't think Howey used to be known for be careful in Howey, you'll get a ticket. In fact, we had a son that lived in Orlando, and his friend said, well, where do your parents live? And he said, Howey-in-the-Hills. He goes, my first and only speeding ticket. So I just like to bring that up. And also, I see about the school supplies donations. I was just wondering how they're going to be handed out. Like, is there, how are they going to do it? Is it to, is there an income level? How is that work? How does it work?
I think our police chief has an answer to that question behind you, but unless you had any more public comment before your
Nah,
time, okay.
that's it.
Saturday, August 1st at Central Park, we'll be doing our handout for back to school. She has an online registry. We have 32 signed up so far for back to school. Most of them are anywhere between 1 and 2 kids per household. So we're still collecting. Our next one is going to be July 25th. It's going to be stuff the cruiser right down here at the Dollar General. So we're actively seeking, but there is a sign up. I can get the link for you if you need it later.
Well, I've seen it on Facebook. I just didn't know how they were choosing the families to get help.
Yeah, it's just a random sign up, whether you're in the area or not. I don't think they're really discriminating. As long as you need something, you sign up and we have the ability to provide. Okay. As for Lakeshore, we were out there a solid month just after we had talked the one time here. We continue to be out there. I think we wrote 2 citations. Mainly the bicyclist is the one that we've handed out probably 3 or 4 warnings.
He gets used to cars, like so past us.
I understand, and we'll continue to be out there. As far as Safe Summer, it did kick off today. However, it is raining. So, I've got 3 officers sitting in cruisers waiting for the rain to stop. So we'll make sure we write some more tickets, if it's warranted.
Thank you, chief.
Between 8 and 10 is when we see people for the most part.
Okay, Diana Blue, 1005 North Tangerine Avenue. I just have 2 questions. I want to know if the building services clerk or library assistant have been hired.
So the building services clerk has been here, I think they're on week 3. The library person, I believe a job offer was made, but they have not yet started. It'll probably be another couple of weeks.
Okay, I have not heard this. Have you notified the community or the council about this?
So we talked about this at the last council meeting about the building services clerk. We did have an update about the interview process ongoing for the library person as well. There's really not another notification of new hires generally that we do.
I would like to know when the new library assistant is hired, if you wouldn't mind. That would be helpful to me. Okay, thank you.
Mitzi Maxwell, 803 Camino Real Boulevard in beautiful and peaceful Howey-in-the-Hills. Good evening, Mayor, councilors, and neighbors. Residents provide a significant portion of the revenue that supports town government. As the town invests in additional technology resources, I hope we also invest in strengthening the connection between town hall and the community. One of our greatest assets is an informed and engaged citizenry. Technology shouldn't only improve internal operations, it should also make it easier much as Diana said, for residents to understand what's happening in their town, follow important projects, and participate in the decision-making process if or as the new IT position evolves. I hope part of its success can be measured by improvements that residents can actually see and experience, easier access to information, clearer project updates, better online resources, and more opportunities to stay informed and engaged. Information and connection build trust. When residents understand, they engage. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Leslie Manning, 111 East Holly Street. Just two things. Be quick. With the status of buying the sewer units, and are we going to have that on the agenda for the next couple of meetings to rediscuss the mandatory issue?
So the units were acquired
Okay.
for the end of last month. We have it scheduled to come up at the second July meeting to present a draft letter that the town attorney has been working on. So it'll be specifically discussed at this upcoming council.
So in 2 weeks.
Correct.
Okay. The second thing is just kind of an FYI, which I'm sure most of you know already. The transparency issue in regards to the police chief, or excuse me, the ex-police chief, it's growing on social media quite a bit. So in regards to legality, I don't know what it all encounters or what entails, but some transparency for the public, I think, is really necessary. I'm sure many of us don't want to know all the details, but just something to allay everyone's concern, and that the process of hiring, of course, as you discussed, the application process for the new chief is ongoing. But at least now we're at a point that I think there's been enough investigation, if in fact our investigation internally is completed, as well as the sheriff's department. I'm sure people can ask for public record, but just as a community and transparency, I think it would be very advisable if something is, a statement comes out or something.
And I can share a little update on
Okay.
that. So Chief Batchelor and I, unless you had any other public comment,
No,
Leslie, I
thank
didn't
you.
want to. Okay. Chief Batchelor and I did meet with the Lake County Sheriff's Office. We do not have the final version of the redacted report in our hands yet. We certainly will by the end of this week. They're working on finalizing it right now to send it to us. So once we have it, then we're in a position to actually share it. At this point, we don't have anything to share, but it will be happening shortly. So thank you for your interest on that.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Labriola. I represent the Christian Family Coalition. We're a statewide organization dedicated to preserving religious liberties and advancing family values in Tallahassee and throughout the state. I live here in Central Florida. I've been to your Lake County Commission meetings, and I'm here today to ask you to address an issue regarding our library item, and it's called Book Page. It is a book review magazine that's available in your library. It's available in a lot of libraries across the country, actually. My involvement in that started in Citrus County, where the Citrus County Commission, the Citrus County government was funding a $3,300 subscription to this magazine in the libraries. It's not a magazine that goes up on the rack. It's a magazine that's available in the lobby, a big stack of it, and people can just come in and grab it and take it home. They don't have to check it out. The reason it was an issue is because it's a very left-wing magazine. They only review left-wing authors. They're not balanced at all in terms of reviewing any best-selling conservative authors, and they have a clear agenda. One of the things that's most offensive, I feel, in my opinion, is that a lot of the reviews have this slant against parents who disagree with pornography being available to kids in schools, and they call them book banners. And it's just a consistently kind of like a biased left-wing slant. So we asked the county to cancel the subscription, and they did, as well as Hernando County, just south of Citrus County. And actually, the reason that they gave was because the subscription is something to the physical magazine, something that only like less than, I think 38% of library systems throughout the United States actually subscribe to the physical edition because it's available online as well. So they canceled it, and I believe that your library has it too. So just as you're looking for ways to save money, as we're looking down the barrel of possible, constitutional amendment on property taxes, and you want to look at ways to save money, that is clearly, I feel, a waste of money. And so just if you could look into that. As I also wanted to address, we're getting close to the first year anniversary of Charlie Kirk's assassination, and we wanted to see if you could make a proclamation to declare October 14th, which is his birthday, the Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance, and maybe also have a display of his books in your library. If you have any books by him in the library, have a display that week as well. And finally, I just wanted to see if you would be interested in passing or adopting a resolution or a charter change if the next time your charter is up to declare Howey-in-the-Hills a personhood city to acknowledge our respect for the unborn child. Thank you. Oh, yes.
Have your name and address for the.
I'm sorry, John Labriola. I live in Citrus County, 2806 Eisenhower Street West. And so if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, sorry.
So, and I, if I may, Mr. Mayor, so I will say, here in Howey-in-the-Hills, we are very much in favor of the principle of subsidiarity, which I'm sure Mr. Labriola, you're familiar with. I've looked at some of your writings as well.
Oh.
So we are very much in favor of subsidiarity. So in that respect, we want to resolve things at the lowest possible level.
Right.
And that supports our principle of home rule as well, that all the municipalities are currently fighting for. In that respect, we usually take things like this to the library director and the library board and things like that. But I will say, for the question of book page, apparently we don't have a subscription and we haven't had a subscription. And I talked to the Lake County Library System because it is a cooperative. And there is subsidiarity of that as well, where each of the municipalities are independent. Then we have the county cooperative, but everyone's respected for their decision making. But the county hasn't paid for it apparently in quite some time either. So that, from what I've heard from the county, I can only speak definitively for the town. But even at the county level for Lake County, apparently that is not something that's been paid for quite some time. I couldn't even say for how long.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure.
All right.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kristen Nelson. I live in Lake County, and my address is 2928 Tangerine Court, Leesburg, Florida. And can I make this taller?
You could take it out. Take
Oh,
the
I
mic
can?
out of the,
Okay.
just lift it. Yeah.
I'm here to ask you to declare I'm also here to ask you to declare on October 14th the Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance in honor of his birthday, and to set up a book display of the books he wrote in the library during the week. And finally, sorry, I shouldn't read this. Please consider either adopting a resolution or adding a language to your town charter the next time it's up for review, declaring Howey-in-the-Hills a personhood city, okay, that values the unborn life. Amen. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
We still do have Tina online.
I know.
I am Farmer Banks Helfrich. I live in the Clay Road District. Farm tip of the day. One of the most despised vegetables, which is in the ground right now, growing, is okra. Actually, I have a hack for you to make okra very appetizing. Chop it into pinwheels, salt, pepper, olive oil, roast it. It will eliminate the mucousy texture to it, and it'll be very much like popcorn, or as I like to say, okra pops. Mayor, council, distinguished guests, we are 250 years old this month. So who exactly are we? We are travelers over the Bering Strait Bridge some 20,000 years ago with names like Hopi and Cherokee and Seminole. We are settlers from England in search of religious freedom. We are immigrants from China and Japan, from Iran and Syria, from Colombia and Nicaragua, in search of a better life for our children and our grandchildren. We are immigrants forced from Africa to live here, and yet we make America our home today. We are black and brown, we are mocha, we are white, we are the rainbow of the world to see. We are Catholic and we are Christian, we are Protestant, we are Hindu, we are atheist and we are agnostic, we are humanist, we are Jewish. We get to think the way we want to think, exercise our own liberties and our freedoms. We are able to love who we want to love and be who we want to be. We are also a melting pot of different cultures, a hodgepodge of peoples from around the world. We are the mutts of the world. And the two things we have that no other country has is that we are diverse. We are from every corner of this great world of ours, and we are united. In fact, united is our first name. And without united, there is no us. Without unity, there is no United States of America. I am Farmer Banks Helfrich, candidate for State House District 25. I am an immigrant and I believe in the United States of America. Thank you.
Any other public comment from the floor? Well, we have somebody else online, Diana. If Tina's still.
So Tina's still on.
Yeah. Tina, you're up.
Good evening. This is Tina St. Clair, 143 East Central Avenue, Howey-in-the-Hills, Florida. Good evening, Town Council. A few items that I would like to mention are you had the first budget workshop, and I did put in a public records request for the spreadsheet that Sean sent me with all of the positions and payroll for the 5 years, which would now be asking for a 6-year history to be updated and sent. I did see in the workshop, which I did not attend, that you're proposing an 8% increase in wages, which I think is very high considering that we've already, over the last 5 years, doubled almost all of the salaries in addition to the people that we have hired, the new positions that we did not have 5 to 6 years ago. Speaking of the spreadsheet and getting that information, the other thing that I would want to request is all the budget workshops seem to be scheduled for 1 p.m. in the day. And since the majority of our residents do work, I feel that we at least need to have one of those workshops in the evening time so that residents that do work can attend and understand how the town council and the town manager is spending our money. The second item I wanted to mention is the ERUs, and I know that it was already mentioned once, but one of the things that I have great concern about, as I will actually be purchasing the second most ERUs of all of the businesses and households, is the fact that you're going to be doing this with a 6-month mandatory participation. And as you are planning it so far in the year, you're now going to hit the 6 months with property taxes being due, income taxes being due, et cetera, et cetera. So I wish that you would take that into account, that not everything hits in December or January when there's all those other expenditures, because I'm very concerned about how much the 4.2 ERUs that you've assigned to me are going to cost. In addition to that, I wanted to ask for an update on the Howey Mansion insofar as where you were looking at them to get permits for events and we're planning on meeting with them.
So as far as the wastewater, so as we said before, we'll be bringing that up specifically at the next council meeting. Thank you for your points on that. For the Howey Mansion, my understanding was that Brad Coward wasn't even going to be back until middle of July. And then I know there was going to be some meetings scheduled with him to touch base on bringing that to council with the latest updates to that plan. But we left that on very good footing when he left several weeks back.
Okay, and when can I expect the salary spreadsheet to be sent to me?
Well, there are no created documents that you've requested, so at the moment there are no records responsive to your request. But we will be preparing a current salary sheet compared to last year's salary sheet as part of the budgeting process, and that could be shared with you when it's created.
Okay, and then I know it is on the schedule this evening, but I did notice that part of the budget that had been sent forward had two positions that before the budget's even been approved, you're asking for approval this evening. The tech
That is-
positions.
That is correct.
Wouldn't that happen after the budget is approved?
Sorry, what was that?
I said, wouldn't that need to be on an agenda after the town council and the budget's approved?
Well, that's up to the council to decide if they would like to do something sooner than the beginning of the fiscal year.
But if you have any comments on that, Tina, obviously you can bring those up when we come to address that particular item. Did you want to address the council's view on the salary increases which came out of the first budget meeting or not?
Would you like to tackle that, Mr. Mayor?
I can. Tina, the 8% that was put forward was discussed at the first budget hearing, and the consensus of the council obviously is subject to change and can go within the next two budget hearings. But the 8%, the consensus of the council was to have a 6% increase, both for town staff and also for the police department. So the 8% at this moment in time is not on the table.
Is there a way to schedule one of those budget workshops to be at 6 p.m. so more of the residents can attend?
We would have to look at that because one of the reasons that it's done the way that it is because of the availability of council members, but we can take a look at that.
That would be greatly appreciated because I think that you would have a lot more input from the residents if you allowed them to attend one of the meetings.
Well, and both public hearings will be after 5 p.m. So
right. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
All right, then I'll close public comment. No, we have a policy. We have done this before when people have wanted to come up a second time. So moving on to that, we'll go on to the consent agenda. We have one set of minutes for the council meeting of June 22nd, 2026. Any comments on that? If not, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That is approved unanimously. So we have public hearing this evening. We have two budget public hearings. First one is consideration and approval. The second reading of ordinance 2026-006, the police PD pension reduction investing period. An ordinance of the town of Howey-in-the-Hills, Florida, relating to the municipal police officers' retirement plan, amending Chapter 34, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Howey-in-the-Hills, reducing the vesting period from 10 years of credited service to 6 years of credited service, providing for amendment of the plan documents and related provisions, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
So I can take the lead on this. So this is at least the third time we've talked about this. This was brought up initially and council approved it several months ago. Then we were informed by the police pension attorney that it had not been done in the correct process, so it was brought back as an ordinance. So we talked about it at least a second time at a previous meeting, and this is now the second reading on this topic, but nothing has really changed on this since the prior discussion. So unless there's any council question.
Let me open it up for public comment first, as this is a public hearing. Let me open this up for public comment on this issue only. If anybody would like to speak, then I'll close public comment, bring it back to council, and would ask council for a motion to approve ordinance 2026-006.
Motion to approve ordinance 2026-006 entitled Police Pension, PD Pension Reduction and Vesting Period.
Second.
Any council discussion on this? If not, then I'll entertain a roll call vote, please. John.
Mayor Pro Tem Everline,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Lanneman,
Yes.
Counselor Miles,
Yes.
Mayor Wells,
Yes.
motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Move on to the second public hearing, CDBG-DR HMGP South Dixie Drive Flood Risk Reduction Project.
And I think Mr. Cates is excited to talk about this project, so I do invite Mr. Cates up to the podium. And while he's coming up, this does tie in with the next item as well, just to be clear on that.
So you just want me to stay up here?
Might as well.
If I can also just ask people, if you haven't already done so, there is a sign-in sheet applicable to this particular item that is on the back table. If you can be sure to sign that, because that is a document that has to go to the state. Thank you.
I think everybody's signed in, but this public hearing that we're presenting to town council and to the residents and to any other guest that's here is to inform the public that we are applying for grant money through the Florida Commerce for the CDBG grant application process. And this is one of the things we have to do is notify the public, have a public hearing. This is the South Dixie Drive Flood Risk Reduction Project. It is a secondary grant for a grant that we've already applied for through the Florida Department of Emergency Management. And I've put some documents in front of everybody there that shows you the project area, which is on South Dixie at 399 South Dixie Drive. That shows the plan that Don Griffey, our engineer, has designed for this project. And then there's one sheet there that shows you the total cost of the project. So stacking these grants will help us initially and at the end of the project be 100% reimbursed for all the project money. The first grant through FDEM is a 75% matching grant, meaning the town would have to match 25% of that funding. This grant through the CDBG of Florida Commerce is the other 25% that covers our matching cost.
Thank you, Morgan. Do I have any public comment on this item? If not, I'll close public comment. Do we need to take action on this, or is this just informatory?
So this is a public hearing, so it's really, I mean, I don't want to say the purpose of this is to check a box for the CDBG grant, but a public hearing is a requirement of this. For item 4, we will have an action item. We need consideration and approval. So this really is just for the benefit of the council and the public to learn about it, ask questions, be informed.
Sean,
Do we go over item number 4 in conjunction with this grant?
I mean, we could
Application.
certainly touch on at least what item 4 is, if that's okay, Mr. Case.
just give me 1 second, because we have the property owners here that this project is gonna affect, and I believe they want to say something to the council.
Okay.
I just have a couple of questions. How is this going to go into?
Can I just get your name and address, sir, please?
Mike Bethea, Bethea, 399 South Dixie Drive, Howey-in-the-Hills. So I see the retention pond. I guess these are swales or something here. And this is a pipe.
Yes, sir. What we're proposed to do is you'll see all the green areas on the design plan are swells
Right.
that will trap and divert the water instead of it ponding up on your property like it does now. A pipe will be put under your driveway. We will pull up your driveway apron, place the pipe in and replace the driveway. And that will direct it all to the retention areas.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank the residents that live there at 399. This has been an ongoing process for about 2 years now. And I've stayed in contact with them every time we get a heavy rain event. They send me photos and we document that and put it in a file. And so we've really tried to work together with them. I know it's been a lengthy process, but when you're asking for grant funding from the state, sometimes it takes a little bit, and that will lead us into number 4, which is the land acquisition for that property to put the stormwater pond on. And we do have the owner of that property here also. And what that land acquisition does is part of the grant application process, and to do the project, we needed some place to put the water, and we didn't have a place. And so we met with the property owner who lives at, Sean, I think you have the right.
I don't have the number in front of me, but on South Florida, but her property is on Dixie.
It's 308 South Florida, which is above the property on South Dixie. And she actually owns an L-shaped piece of property that goes all the way to South Dixie, which is that portion that we've highlighted to show the stormwater pond. And we met with her. She was very gracious enough to meet with us and come up with a price that is, I think is a very good price. And I won't speak for her, but I'll let her speak for herself when she gets up here. But she's very, very involved in getting this done to help her neighbors behind her and solve this issue. So.
And to that point, we used the valuation that we used in previous property purchases. I'll say that 3 times quickly, on Citrus Avenue with a price of $3.63 a square foot. So we use that same valuation to come up with a fair number for Mrs. Gibson. And I have to say, it's been a pleasure working with her during this rather lengthy process. But that would be a total amount of $27,225 for the acquisition of the part of her property that abuts the Dixie area. That's the lowest point.
And that 27,000 is part of the $156,925, which is the total cost of this project.
That is
to be
correct.
funded by the 2 grant.
Yes.
That is correct. Land acquisition is part of the total estimated cost.
One concern that I have, this is the first time I've seen this map.
Pull your mic up a little, David, please.
This is the first time I've seen this map with the green part added on. I've seen it without that, but I went and looked at this property over the weekend.
And a concern that I have is there is a vacant lot between lot with the number 398 and 402. In between there is what appears to be a buildable lot. It is in the same depression that affects 399 also affects that lot. And I see that you have a small swale in front of it. Is that swale designed to make that lot buildable without further water remediation efforts on the part of the town?
I believe it will, Council Miles, and I talked to you about this earlier today. If you'll see that contour line that goes around the red dotted line there that stretches back over across to 398, where that swell is located.
Right.
From there, the property dramatically goes up, and if you'll look at where the house is at 396, once you get up above, they'll be way above the road. The issue with 399 is it's in a hole. When they built the house, it's only like 6 inches above grade. And there is a swell there currently, but there's nowhere for the water to be directed. So I believe that will be a buildable lot when we get done with
This project will solve the water drainage issues for all the projects along this area of South Dixie.
I believe it will. Our engineer that designed this would be better to speak to on that note, but in the future, if we see any issues, we can just add more swells along South Dixie, either direction. You'll see we got them up at the intersection with West Myrtle, and that's to help hold back some of that water, so all the water's not going down to the bottom of that localized flooded area.
Okay. And the land that we're proposing to acquire for the $27,000 number is the one that has a little arrow going into it, dry retention pond easement needed.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Is that area between 395 and 399 from the
Actually, we'll be getting more than an easement. We'll actually be owning the property.
Correct.
Will we not?
Correct.
Motion to approve.
Second.
As this is money, we'll.
I do have a question. To Morgan. So what I'm seeing is our core share is just a little over $2,000, the core share?
As far as both the projects combined, is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm looking at, required local core share of $2,123.
Design portion.
Is that the design portion?
That's the design portion, but we're actually, that will be the only part of the money we're paying. I'll get with Florida Commerce. I believe they are covering the entire project. The reason this got split into two is because when we applied to FDM for this initial project and the design, they come back to it and said, we'll approve it. And I talked about this at the stormwater management, when I presented a stormwater management plan to council a couple months ago. They said, we want to see it in two phases. The first phase is a design phase, which we had already designed it, but they're having us do a H&H study, which is a hydrological and hydraulic study. And we're engineers in the process of doing that now. And once that's completed, the portion of the project that is design project will be completed, and we'll move on to phase two, which is where the rest of the money comes into play in the 75-25.
Thank you.
So the two grants will combine will cover 100% of the cost.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other council comment? If not, I'll entertain a roll call vote, please, John.
Thank you, Morgan.
Counselor Lanneman,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Miles,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Everline,
Yes.
Mayor Wells,
Yes.
motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So we'll move on to item 5, consideration and approval of water treatment plant number 3, change of order request number 3.
Yes. So we do have our representative from HAF here as well. So again, just to be clear on this, so this started with the water treatment plant number 3 design.
Before you go on, I want to make clear that my motion covered both items number 3 and item number 4.
And three was just a public hearing. So
Okay.
okay. Okay. So in looking at this project, so this is labeled water treatment plant number 3. We have used HAF for the design of water treatment plant number 3. We also did some work with them to plan the design for we'll call it the second phase, which is the 12-inch water main, which will connect both the new water treatment plant and the current main water treatment plant. So if we consider that a phase 2 of this overall project for the new water treatment plant, and there is a phase 3 that we have been talking about, final and third phase, which is the retrofitting of the old plant at the water tower, which will increase the capacity of that plant by 50%, because the bottom third has been effectively unutilizable for since the creation of that tank. So this redesign would optimize that and improve that water capacity at that one plant by 50%, which is significant. But we do have Troy Mitchell here from HAF to answer any technical questions. But again, this would be a change order on the design agreement for water treatment plant 3 to expand it to include designing the retrofit of water treatment plant 1 as a phase 3 of this water expansion plan.
So what's the total cost, Sean, of it?
240, I had it up a second ago.
362.
There we go.
And we're planning to finance that through additional use of the line of credit.
We would certainly, that would be a use.
Yeah, this
For
is
this
one of
project.
the 3 projects that was specifically outlined
Correct.
for use of that line of credit when we
Right.
approved it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this we had already discussed. It's not a new fee. Correct.
Correct. It's the third and final. We've already
Right.
approved the other 2 items. Is that not correct?
Yes, and this, just to be clear, this is the design.
Okay, so I'll open this up for public comment.
Did you want, Mr. Mitchell, did you want to say anything on this particular?
Well,
Or answer any questions?
Where do we stand on the advertisement of the construction of this?
Of the 12-inch water main that was sent to the newspaper with a publication date of the 15th. So it'll be published 2 days from now.
in the Daily Commercial.
Yes.
I think you covered it pretty well, Sean. There's always been an issue with the storage capacity of your ground storage tank out there. About the bottom third of your tank is unusable storage.
What is your estimate for this is kind of a 3-phase project. Phase 1, which we approved quite some time ago, was to put the water plant, which is currently under construction at the corner of 19 and 48. And I see the Crom tank is partially done up there now. That's phase 1. When do you expect to have that complete? When do you expect to have the 12-inch pipeline connecting the 2 plants complete? And third, what is your expectation for the completion of this final phase, which is to expand the capacity of plant number 1?
And just to be clear, are we talking design or construction? Because they're doing
Knocking the whole enchilada. I want to know when we're going to get each phase done.
Substantial complete for your water plant. It was in November of this year. I think they were supposed to have it substantially complete by that time. We're expecting to have the water main constructed within 180 days to be final and complete. So that'll put it around the same time if we could start right away. So that'll put us around October, November for that one to come online as well. We won't be able to bring it in service until the plant is done anyway. So the idea was trying to get it built and finished both relatively at the same time. For plant number one, if we start now in design, you could be looking probably the end, probably third quarter of next year, by the time you get it permitted and put in the ground.
Okay. Now, we will be able to use the expanded capacity of plant 3 as soon as we get the pipeline done, which is the second phase. And then the third phase of upgrading plant 1 is kind of independent of the other 2 phases.
That is
But
correct.
it's adds additional capacity for the town.
Yes,
So you're expecting the whole thing will be done by the end of the third quarter of calendar year 2027. Is that what I'm hearing?
yes, provided permitting goes well.
Any other questions? You're mulling it over, David. Are you complete?
I'm fine.
Any other questions from council?
You need to open this to the
Mhm.
public.
Thank you, Troy. I'll
Thank
open
you,
it
Troy.
up for public comment just on this item only. Anybody online, Sean? Then I'll close public comment, bring it back to council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So that's a motion to approve the change order request number 3 for water treatment plant number 3.
You are correct.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Can I have a roll call vote, please, John?
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Everline,
Yes.
Counselor Miles,
Yes.
Counselor Lanneman,
Yes.
Mayor Wells.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So we'll move on to item 6 of new business, consideration and approval of proclamation 2026-005, general municipal election notice. I'm going to read the proclamation in full. It is kind of lengthy, so please bear with me.
Sir, one quick second before you start reading. Number 4, for David's motion was included in our, what we did in number 3. 3 and 4 were combined?
Yes, that's what I was saying, that 3 and 4.
Three didn't require three was just a
Was the
discussion.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
there was no need for a vote on 3.
Okay, thank you.
This is a proclamation announcement of the 2026 municipal election. Whereas the town of Howey-in-the-Hills will hold a municipal election on Tuesday, November the 3rd, 2026. And whereas the election will determine the holders of town council seats 1, 2, and 3. And whereas all eligible and interested residents are encouraged to participate in this vital democratic process. Now, therefore, I, Graham Wells, Mayor of Town of Howey-in-the-Hills, Florida, on behalf of the Town Council, do hereby proclaim the following. Election date and polling hours. The 2026 municipal election will be held on Tuesday, November the 3rd, 2026. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at such precinct locations as determined and noticed by the Lake County Supervisor of Elections. Qualifying period for this election will commence The qualifying period for this election will commence at noon on Monday, August the 23rd, 2026, and will conclude at noon.
Third.
Sorry, what?
Third.
Beg your pardon. What did I say?
23rd.
I beg your pardon. August the 3rd, 2020. I just wanted to make sure you're awake.
Yep.
August the 3rd, 2026, and will conclude at noon on Friday, August the 14th, 2026. All interested candidates must file their candidacy within this period. The eligible requirements: all candidates for the office of town councillor must be at least 21 years of age. Candidates must be registered voters and residents of the town of Howey-in-the-Hills for at least 1 year prior to the first day of the qualifying period. Each candidate must file a petition with the town clerk signed by no fewer than 25 town electors nominating the candidate for town council. Any person convicted of a felony is ineligible and disqualified from seeking election to any office or appointment to any board, commission, committee, or agency in the town. No more than one family member may hold a seat on the council concurrently. A family member includes parents, siblings, children, or spouses. The candidate shall also provide a statement that if elected, he or she will serve, and if not, the council shall omit his or her name from the ballot. Qualifying officer for this election is John Brock, the town clerk. All parties interested in qualifying for this election may contact the town clerk's office at 352-324-2290, extension 101. 352-272-1925, or via email at jbrock@howey.org to schedule an appointment. Appointments will be held at the Town Hall, 101 North Palm Avenue, Howey-in-the-Hills, Florida 34737. More information about the election process can be obtained from the town's website at howey.org or by contacting the town clerk. I'm assuming this proclamation will also be on the website. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of the town of Howey-in-the-Hills to be affixed this 13th day of July in the year 2026. Is there any questions on this item, either from council or from the public? Then we'll move on to consideration and approval of the new position for an IT systems administrator.
Do we have to
Consideration and approval.
Oh, you need to approve it?
Yeah.
motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So now we'll move on to item 7, consideration and approval of new position IT systems administrator.
So yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this discussion item, this is related to discussions that we had at our recent budget workshop. We had talked about, in particular, bringing in an IT function in-house with 2 positions looking at the upcoming fiscal year. One of them being an IT systems administrator, which is a higher level position, effectively a department director type position. And the secondary position under that would be an IT support desk type person. Mr. Brock has asked that we move up the consideration of bringing in-house this higher level IT systems administrator, keeping in mind that at this point in time, we're halfway through July. So if council were to approve the hiring of this position within the current fiscal year, in reality, if we're looking at 2 weeks minimum of posting, a week of scheduling interviews, 2 weeks of interviews, a week of decision making, and 2 weeks for the person to give their notice at their other employer, we are into September at that point, but at least we're bringing the person in sooner than later. Otherwise, if council were to move forward with this plan under the FY27 budget, Mr. Brock would not be in a position to advertise that position until we had gone through the final second public budget hearing, which is effectively the end of September. So basically he's hitting the first day of the fiscal year, and then he's just beginning to advertise it, and then hoping 6 weeks later he might have that position. So this is just trying to get a little bit of a head start. And effectively what we're looking at is a month salary within the current fiscal year, if that. But it just prevents us from losing, let's say, a month and a half into FY27 before we'd be able to potentially bring this person on board. I believe our town attorney has also written a memorandum on some particular points, NIST compliance, among other things. But there is a large list of regulations, of requirements, compliance from the state. Some of this is related to the police department, but some of it's just for municipalities in general. And it is not an overstatement to say that the town is not compliant. I mean, we're functionally operational for IT at I would call it a business level, I guess one could say. So we do have that. But we do need to fulfill these requirements. And also practically, the town IT support, which is Smartware, is effectively firing us, meaning they know that our needs are going to expand, and they have stated that because of their other obligations, they cannot scope to that. And in fact, they were talking about maybe ramping down their service of the town as they're focusing in other areas. So for town IT support, even our current system has a few months timeline on it before we have to replace it.
Now,
The
are you
PD
talking
does
about
have-
the gentleman that we hired back
So-
in March
so-
for the PD?
Right.
Or are you talking about another contract?
No, this is another, so Smartware was the one that serviced the town. Mr. Manny Diaz from Legacy, was that the? Okay, Mr. Manny Diaz, he is scheduled to continue working with the police department to bring them up with their particular CGIS IT requirements on a 180-day framework, which coincides with the end of the fiscal year. So Mr. Diaz certainly could apply for one or the other of these full-time positions as they become available. But his role was temporary in scope and solely for the police department. And yes.
And what is the contract you're saying that people are wanting to back out on?
So they've just had it's an on-call contract. I mean, maybe Mr. Brock can touch on that more directly.
Sean's correct. We've contracted with them for over 5 years. I don't know how far back it goes, but their business is catered to a different clientele than municipalities, and they're looking to focus more on their other clients. They've been pushing clients away because of us and the time frame for us, and I guess we're not as profitable for them as their other. I think they're focusing on more accounting and CPA firms, and that's really their bread and butter.
And as we've been talking about needing more in terms of compliance, that requires more on their certification, which again, they don't want to pursue that because that's not their primary focus, is municipal certification.
Question, inside of the budget, as I reviewed it over the weekend, unless I'm mistaken, you've got this position, then you've got let's call it a junior tech position, but then you've also still got, I think, 44,000 in the budget for under the PD for IT support, and also is it Smartware for another 10,000 in there. If you add all those together, it's over 200,000.
So the contract with Mr. Diaz, presuming that we get approval for the two IT positions, that would be replaced by the in-house staff. So if that was still in there, that's to Mr. Brock's point, there could be some overlap, but the goal would be to replace Mr. Diaz's contract with the two full-time positions. And if there's money for Smartware, again, besides an overlap period, but we would not need a full year's worth of Smartware services.
It's like 10,000 from memory. Just
Okay.
paraphrasing here from what I recall.
So there would still be operational costs, licensing for software and things like that as well. But this would replace smartware and Mr. Diaz.
I have a couple problems with this. Number one is, to me, this was kind of sprung on us. We haven't even had a chance to discuss this. It was on the budget, which means it wouldn't be approved until November. And we haven't even had a chance to talk about it, and here it is on the agenda. That's concerning to me. Also concerning to me is we're supposedly under a hiring freeze. So if we hire this person, that'll be the second person that we've hired under a hiring freeze, which is kind of interesting. What do towns like Montverde, Astatula, are they out of compliance also?
Well, that's the Tula definitely is. I can't
Okay,
say.
so what happens if you're out of compliance?
I don't know, Tim, you're asking the wrong person here.
What happens if you're out of compliance?
Out of compliance.
Maybe Heather can give us an answer.
In your system, you're looking at criminal prosecution.
So Astatula has been doing this how long? Astatula, you say they've been not filing adequate records for a while?
I would say so, probably, yes.
So it doesn't seem like the state must be. What
Well,
about Montverde?
They are being investigated by the state as we speak, so
Okay, what about Montverde?
that I don't know.
Because I looked at their budget and I don't see an IT person.
I don't know, Tim.
Another issue I have with it is I discussed this with some other municipalities, and 85 to 90 is on the high end. 80 to 85 would be more realistic. So those are the issues I have.
I think to Tim's point, and certainly from what I've already looked at in the budget myself, I think that we potentially should table this item and discuss it more fully at the next budget workshop, which is in a week's time. And if depending on how that goes, we'll bring it back to council in August the 11th. I know that's not ideal for you guys to get somebody started from the beginning of the year, but I think when we're looking at such a huge amount of money, when you combine all of the things that are in the budget together, I'm certainly, and I think John spoke to this at the last meeting of the requirement of having a senior and a junior, rather than try to get somebody who has the skills and ability to carry out it all, particularly as John's been doing this on his own for quite some time with wearing other hats. And, in a small town like Howey-in-the-Hills, well, come to that, like Montford and also Astatula, people do have to wear more hats. And I think that it's a huge amount of money that we're looking to invest in this. I accept we do need some to bring us into compliance, but I think that we need to investigate this further. And the budget workshop seems to be an ideal opportunity to do that. It's a week away. If it becomes more relevant to get this going after that, of course, you can always call a special council meeting to get this particular thing pushed through.
I am of the belief that obviously something has to be done. I totally agree with that, but I think we should look at alternatives and look at what this is the best way to go. Maybe this is, I don't know, but I'd like to discuss it further.
I do have something that I have a question in regard to. I heard about help desk. So I just need to understand how we would use help desk. I do know, like for larger entities that have a lot going on, the help desk, because they have maybe a lot of employees that are on laptops, remote and so forth, and applications. So how would that person, would it be the second position that would be the help desk person, the assist. So what would be the role of help desk for that person that the administrator probably can't do for a while until we can get past subscriptions? And cause see, there's a lot of expense in licensing fees.
There is.
That I do know. They don't run in the hundreds, they run in the thousands. So by hiring this individual at 80, let's say, okay, you gave the range of 80 to 90,000, getting that person up and running, and then the licensing fees and everything, and having a audit, so to speak, of the technology, that's going to cost the town as well. So I needed to understand that help desk person, how much help desk would that individual do? I know we're going to discuss this further in budget workshop, but I just wanted that to go home with tonight to think about.
Mr. Brock, do you want to kind of talk about the separation of responsibilities between those two roles?
I can a little bit. I will tell you, the help desk functionality for them is only a portion of what they would do. Similar to what Counselor Miles has told you about for finance, how you need multiple people to be in compliance with finance norms. You need to have multiple people to be in compliance with IT norms. And to be NIST certified, which is a requirement from the state, it requires more than one person to do that. And these people also have to be on call. Ideally, like for instance, at a slightly larger municipality like Tavares, they've got 4 system administrators and 3 of the system operators. They are 24/7. Somebody has to be available if there's an intrusion into the system. And that's the reason for having to have more than one person. So there has to be somebody who's on call. One person can't be on call all the time. Someone has to take a vacation from time to time. So.
Understood. So the help desk person, although help desk was used as in the conversation, that individual would be doing so much more than just the help desk.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've been using that
So-
informally, but I think support specialist is the.
Yes.
Support specialist would be the actual title.
So what I would like to ask, if we can get some numbers on those licensing, do we have it?
No, quite honestly, until we get somebody in who can do a full evaluation, I couldn't tell you exactly what we have to do. I know in general some of the stuff that has to happen, but I'm not qualified to tell you exactly what's going to need to be changed. There will be stuff that we're going to have to do out of reserves next year to bring the town up to compliance.
Okay, thank you.
And I know, Mr. Mayor, you talked about Mr. Brock and the wonderful work he's done doing all of this. But frankly, and not to get into particulars, but if you look at the town attorney's memorandum on this, I wouldn't want to speak for Mr. Brock, but I would say none of those things are being done.
I would say we can't go into too many specifics. There are public record laws and exemptions, and all cybersecurity and infrastructure is completely exempt from open discussion like that. So I can't really get into it, but I can tell you that we are not in compliance.
So the question next, my next question is that, as you were speaking, I'm thinking about, the frame of at the end of to give the noticing and the budget. If hypothetically, if there had to be a payment for 1 month, what would that cost the town?
So if you
you're
took,
in this budget,
let's just say on the higher end, so if you took a $90,000 salary and divided by 12, as one
and then
month.
him the month,
And you
but
got
without it,
micro
is medical
benefits, so it's
Yeah, so if you had
probably about 10,000.
you'd add about 38,000 or 38%, sorry. So that'd be a little over 10,000 to the mayor's point
Mhm.
for a month, 30-day period, more or less.
I don't think it's, in my mind, I don't think it's the money that we have to find in this financial year. If we have to find it, we have to find it. And we do have that money. I'm not concerned about that so much as I don't want to get into our leg into something tonight when we have not decided exactly how we are going to do it with regards to the other items that are in the budget, et cetera, et cetera.
Understood.
So I come back to my preference will be to table this item, discuss it at the budget workshop, which is next Tuesday. And then if we do need to move on action, we can have a one item special council meeting to approve it if we wish to. But I think at least we will have had the opportunity for anybody who wants to do any research. If we want to talk to Montverde, and just simply get a little bit more of an established understanding.
Is all of it has to do with cybersecurity?
Mm-hmm.
If you're saying from the town attorney's memo?
No, I'm talking about for the compliance. Is that why, is it cybersecurity? Or are there other, so it's the cybersecurity? See, I'd like to hear really from somebody knowledgeable about it,
I don't know. Is there anybody on the council who's a certified computer information's?
What about if we were to get
Security.
one of the people from Tavares maybe to come down?
I think Councilor Arnold was indicating himself.
I am a CISSP, from a previous life. So cybersecurity, which is built around this standard. So the state system is going to be built around the federal system. The federal system was in turn built around DoD, which in turn was built by your favorite three-letter agency known as the NSA. These are very comprehensive regulations. NIST is standards. They don't really regulate anything, but they tell you what the standard needs to be. So here's the challenge before us. Because of the advent of AI, the ability to hack your way into a system, even for those who are highly knowledgeable and how to not fall for such schemes or how to accidentally allow access, it is significant and it's getting worse every single day. And so having to meet these standards will not be done just as we've hired somebody and we meet the standard. You're right, Renee. It will take some time. Do we have to worry about software licensing? I don't remember that, and I don't think so. But one of the things we need to keep in mind is the longer we kick this thing down the road, the greater the town and its residents' information risks being exposed. I'm not that worried about it because OMB's already been hacked, so they have all my security clearance information. And Social Security hacked? No, Medicare was hacked. And I know part of my records from them are. So if you haven't had your personally identifiable information revealed yet, trust me, it probably will be. Or it probably already has been, but it takes them like a year to let you know. Oh, by the way, your information was exposed. So I like the timing of this. I think it's appropriate we brought it up to tonight so that we can really engage on this thing. Think of the two positions as this. You essentially, I'm a little old school, so I think in terms of the system engineer, the guy who's going to put it together, design it, make sure all the controls, all the compliances, everything in place. The system administrator, which is actually the better term what they use, but the system administrator is going to run the system. He'll be your help desk. He's going to make sure things are operating properly. Something goes wrong with the system, it goes down. He'll put in, somebody will put in the ticket. Actually, he'll probably put in the ticket and then he'll work it and close it himself. But you have to have two people involved, mainly because you got to have somebody checking up on somebody else. Otherwise, if it's only one person, I guarantee you get an unethical person in there, he can put a backdoor into that system.
That's true.
And when he leaves the job, He'll go to somebody and say, hey, how'd you like to
And
get the
begin to
information?
download, yeah.
Aren't there outside
they'll be able to
firms
get in there.
that are certified? I mean, I would think there'd be outside contractors jumping up
Now,
all over the
there's-
state.
There's two ways
With
to
this.
do this. We can hire somebody
Or we can job it out.
or we could contract it
Right.
out. My rate when I was at Booz Allen Hamilton, which is 10 years ago, was $265 an hour. So, hey, I'm available, and that's cheap these days. But we need to talk about addressing the position and the security system. Now, here's the advantage. The advantage is when we meet the standards is we're going to be able to have all of our data residing in the .gov environment, which is important because when you're in the .org or the .com, you have no idea where your information is. And by the way, if you call up Microsoft, you call up Google, they'll go, I don't know where your data is. Even they don't know. .gov, a little bit more secure, well, a lot more secure. Certain servers have been selected. Their location is within the United States. For all we know, our information may be residing in Beijing, China, for example. So I think if we want to examine this question later on, the only other question would be if we don't want to hire somebody as an employee, then we certainly, as a minimum, have to contract it out. But I'm telling you, contractors, incredibly expensive. And they will charge you, we charge by the 15-minute increment. I don't think you even heard that. You do what, half-hour increments? 6 minutes.
1 minute.
6 minutes? Wow, man.
Sean, have you contacted anybody to look at outside contracts?
We have not looked at outside contracts, typically without, for this in particular, typically with outside contracts such as the one we have with Mr. Diaz. That's 42,000 a year for a contract.
Yeah, I'm talking about specifically companies, and I'm sure Gray Robinson would have plenty of recommendations. Just companies that focus on states like, meeting these compliance things. I
Those
would
are
think they've got to be a
typically,
lot of
if
Those
you
are
if you have
usually handled privately.
and if you have more
Private
than if you have a
entities.
solid 40 hours of work, you're typically not saving on a contract. You're
No.
typically paying a premium.
If it's 40 hours, I have no idea. I mean, I think it'd be interesting to listen to somebody talk about it.
But what I do want to add is that I don't want us to not think that the cybersecurity is not important. And one of the things that I do know because of the organization that I work for, there is a built-in cybersecurity team along with a whole team of IT, because one of the things they talk about, when the more computers you have, the more applications you have, the more people that are working remote around the world and here and there, there's a lot of phishing, phishing, going on and data cultivating from companies. And many times if those firewalls are not in place, that information is just sucked out and you never know that it happens, that there has been a compromise. So this is something that I do know how super important it is, but I would like for us to, and I know that John cannot continue to do all that he has done to get us even to the point of where we are now. But it is very important for the town itself to have a cybersecurity system. We just want to know what would be the best route. And this is a small town with limited funds and with so much going on. But at the same time, again, this council is having to work on things that haven't been worked on in 10 or 15 years. And now we're here, but we want to make sure that we do it correctly and prudently so that we can make sure that we're in compliance at the same time.
And I'd like to add, once we're done, you'll never have to worry about using Howey.org. It'll be Howey.gov. The reason we can't use .gov is we don't meet their standards right now. The Florida state requirements are derived from NIST. Really, really complicated. Takes time to get them in place because it's not so much for getting them in place, then you also have to test it. And the longer we wait, the greater the risk of the data being stolen, even to the point of if they can get into the finances, well, that $6 million line of credit might wind up in somebody's pocket sitting in Nigeria instead. So we really do need to, maybe not tonight, but we really do need to move out.
This is something
on this
that,
item.
yeah, because I know that our team constantly talk about, it's a daily thing.
Oh,
Of,
yes.
it's daily with, shutting down different,
So
I would like
viruses
to
and firmware.
make a motion.
So we take.
I would like to move that we authorize the town clerk to advertise for the position as desired. However, the individual may not come on board prior to October 1 of 2026. So there will be no expenditure of funds other than any advertising expenses. And it gets him started on it. Let's face it, to get a competent person into this job, we're going to be very fortunate if we can get him in 2.5 to 3 months due to the bureaucratic process we have to go through in hiring folks. So he needs to get started, I understand. But I agree with the mayor that we need to discuss the funding of the IT function at the next budget hearing in order to decide exactly where we're going. And I feel that the staff needs to put a proposal in writing as to how they would like to staff this IT function within the general fund with all proposed expenses, not just personnel, but also the rest of it. So, but my motion is basically to authorize John to begin advertising for the position with the intention of filling it in next fiscal year.
Okay.
Has anybody talked to Florida League of Cities? I'd like to talk to them. I'd like to see what they have to say before we just jump the gun and.
All I'm doing is authorizing him to move forward on the
We're locking it into
advertisement.
place. Pretty much is what we're doing.
The League of Cities does not do these functions.
No, I understand that, but they're working with every municipality just about in the state, David.
This is a real problem. In the 1990s, I was the finance director for the city of Green Acres. One of the divisions that came under us was the IT division. We operated 2 AS400s to include computer-aided dispatch 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We didn't have the cybersecurity concerns to the degree back 30 years ago that we do today. We also had over 100 users of laptops that were tied in to our wide area network. And we had a staff of 3 people, and they ran like hell to keep that operational 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're going to have to get into this field. Things have gotten much more complex. And this is just another growing pain. As we get to be a bigger sized town, we're going to have staff in these functional areas. So I'm not proposing anything other than that we authorize him to begin the process of hiring the one position as he's outlined.
And I will say, Mr. Brock has been working for, I would say several weeks, but it's really more like months now with I believe he's the vice president of FLGISA, which is the Florida Local Government Information Systems Association. It's the association for everyone related to IT in Florida. So he's been working directly with I think he's the vice president, meeting with him, talking about the demands, wrapping his head around it. I've sat in on 1 or 2 of the meetings, and I can tell you my level of even understanding. I know they are using words but there's a level of understanding that is beyond my scope of knowledge. But Mr. Brock it knows enough to understand the scope, and he's been broadening his understanding as he's been sitting, asking questions, learning about this. And he has come up with this need based on all these ongoing conversations, which I will say probably started, if I remember correctly, with the discussion with the CJIS compliance, with the PD and the IT department, and how even our work in that area is barely minimally adequate just for that one department.
I have placed a motion
Yeah,
on the floor. Do I have a second?
Yes, one sec. I do have a second for that. In the essence of that, I do understand what we're saying is that it is not dispensing any funds, but definitely starting the ball to roll for John to interview individuals. Is it to
Well, to post a
an
job
interview?
interview, basically, it sounds like the way we could phrase it is council is locking in that at the end of the budget approval process, the public hearing process, council is feeling secure that it will have this position in the budget, and therefore by an October 1st start date, there will be the funds for this position,
For
but
the
not
one,
prior.
for the one
For
position.
the systems administrator.
Second.
Let me open this up for public comment.
Before we do this, I think we have to establish a salary.
Well, they've got,
We're gonna advertise.
well, they have a salary range in there. But can I just open this up for public comment for us before we continue to debate this?
I suggested in my motion that it be done in accordance with what they've recommended in the staff note. So they've got a salary range included in there.
Hi, Mitzi Maxwell, 803 Camino Real. I just want to suggest something to chew on. The process of designing and migrating a system is different than the person that operates a system once it's been designed. And it's usually don't get this all of those skills in the same package. So I'm here tonight to suggest at the proper time that you think about the best way to acquire the best possible skills for Howey-in-the-Hills, because this is not your mama's migration or your daddy's migration. This is complex, and it really deserves somebody that is experienced in designing a system. So I just urge you to think about it, because we may end up with a better work product if we have somebody that designs the system and someone else that ends up operating the system. Thank you.
We have someone online as well. Unless we have.
Mrs. Manning?
Okay. I would really.
Just state your name and address again.
Sorry, Leslie Manning, 111 East Holly Street. I really concur with Tim. We need to really have an engaged conversation at the next budget workshop. I was not aware that we had a hiring freeze. And may I ask when that was instituted for the town for new positions?
Okay.
Yeah, last budget.
Okay, so
And I'm the one that made the motion for that to
I
happen.
understand. Okay, thank you. But
we hire against authorized positions.
Right,
And
but this,
we have
but
done
this,
that
but,
several-
but this is a new position.
right.
Correct.
So I would really ask you and encourage you, as Mitzi and some of us probably would agree, that let's really do some thorough discussion to make sure that this person, when we do hire them, that they are adequate and qualified, et cetera. But to that note, since we have a hiring freeze, I just wanted to let you know that in the Orlando Sentinel today, it was published that Orlando is going to be putting a hiring freeze on, and that they are in the process of discussion of a emergency fund. Okay. If in fact you do hire this position, I would also ask you, what are we going to cut for next year? Where are we going to see the money come from? We're talking about a serious tax problem here. So I really encourage you. I know, and I agree, this is a very serious issue and it has been going on and we need to take some pressure off of John. So I just ask that we really have a thorough discussion and bring some information to the budget meeting next week so that we can so that you all can make a really, really good educated decision about this.
Thank you.
We cut 3 police officers out of the force about 3 months ago and all the revenue related to them. So we cut our force effective October 1 from 10 officers to 7. There is a proposal in the budget, and you're certainly welcome to attend any of the budget hearings.
I've come to
To
meetings.
increase the number back to 9, but we won't be getting revenue from the school board in doing that. So the school board would be going elsewhere to get the RSOs.
SROs.
Right.
ROs.
But that's kind of apples and oranges. And we're really thinking futuristically here for our budget next year. And also, this is a very important position. And as many of you have discussed, that this has been an ongoing issue. And I'm not placating, and I'm not saying that it's not important, but we got to be careful with our dollars here.
I understand.
Thank
you. Anybody else from the floor? I have somebody online, I believe. If you can unmute them.
Good afternoon, Tina St. Clair, 143 East Central Avenue, Howey-in-the-Hills, Florida. I concur that since this is already an item to be discussed during the budget workshop, I think everything should be held off until you go through that process. I also think that because you're looking at hiring 2 positions and it's a considerable amount of money, that we also look at possibly not doing the salary increases or making them in a very small 1 to 2% merit-based increases in order to get the money for these 2 positions that are very important in today's environment.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to close public comment. We have a motion and a second on the floor. The motion is for John, the clerk, to go ahead and advertise this position. Because it is a money position, we would need a roll call vote, please, John.
Mayor Pro Tem Everline,
No, and the reason I'm saying no, I've never been in a situation where I approve something before it's been budgeted.
Councilor Arnold,
Yes.
Councilor Lanneman,
Yes.
Councilor Miles,
Yes.
Mayor Wells,
No.
motion passes.
Okay, we'll move on to item 8 of new business, consideration and approval of resolution 2026-016, proposed maximum millage rate. A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Howey-in-the-Hills, Florida, setting the proposed maximum millage rate of ad valorem taxation and setting the date, time, and place of the first public hearing on the budget for fiscal year 2026-2027, providing for an effective date.
So this resolution, again, just to be clear, this establishes the maximum millage rate. This would be a not to exceed. We have put it at 6.99, which is the current millage rate. It is always possible at any point through the budget discussion up through the public hearings to reduce the millage rate. But this is the line in the sand where we say it will not go above the number here stated. So staff is very confident, even though we've begun our budget workshops much earlier in the year than usual, I would say. We still don't have a lot of the state revenue numbers coming in. So we have some projections, some numbers from last year. We know some things will trend upwards. But likewise with some of the expenditures, we haven't necessarily received all the latest updates. So those numbers continue to come in. We know that in general, they do tend to trend a little upwards in terms of revenue over expenditure with the way that we try to plan things. So we are confident that 6.99 is more than sufficient to do everything that council's been asking of us so far. In terms of if there is any thought of reducing millage, it would be staff's recommendation to consider that a little later in the process when we're a little more sure of how much wiggle room we would have to still cover all of the expenditures with the revenues that we are anticipating.
And what's the rollback rate?
Rollback is
So
6.09.
you might want to explain that to people that may not understand the rollback.
The rollback rate is a rate which, if set, would technically give you the same amount of taxation as you got the prior year. Of course, that doesn't include any new developments, any new homes, any new commercial business. It's simply on the basis of what went on last year. Bear in mind, this is a maximum millage rate, so that can be changed at any time up to the budget period. I think it's a good idea to set it at that. And then I have my own visions of where I want to be with regards to the millage rate, but that's going to come out as part of the the budget workshop cycles. So I would encourage us to move forward with the approval of this. But before we do, I'll open it up for public question and comment. If anybody has anything they
One other thing in advance. The date, time, and place of the first public hearing is?
That's listed as first budget hearing to accept public comment on the millage rate. It will be held September 9th, 2026 at 5:05.
It's in the resolution, correct?
Yes, I'm reading from
Yeah.
the resolution here.
So it's September 9th here.
September 9th here, and the
On
public hearings are always at
5:05
5 PM traditionally because you can't do it 5 or earlier, so 5:05.
Any public comment? I'll close public comment, bring it back to council. Any further discussion from council? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2026-016, proposed maximum millage rate at 6.99 mils.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a roll call vote when you're ready, John, please.
Counselor Miles,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Everline,
Yes.
Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Lanneman,
Yes.
Mayor Wells,
Yes.
motion passes unanimously.
If council would indulge me, can we just have a recess for a quick 5-minute break so that I can go use the restroom?
Second.
We are in recess at 7:48. He's down there.
Counselor Arnold,
Councillor Arnold, please.
paging Counselor Arnold.
I'm going to bring this council meeting back to order at 7:53 PM. We only have one item left to discuss, which is item 9 on cemetery tree planting. Let's see if we can get through this fairly quickly.
Was that directed at me, Mr. Mayor?
Anybody who's
to
listening.
take? So, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this particular item comes at a resident request. This is at this point discussion only. If there is consensus from the council to pursue this further, whether that would be through making it official via ordinance or resolution, whatever the case may be. But the topic came up. Councilor Miles noted that we had a lot of cemetery lot sales recently, and we had a particular individual asking if they would be able to use some of their lots to plant trees, with the goal being to add some beautification to the cemetery, and in particular, the area of their family. The idea being that there would be no trees planted on a plot with a body. So this would be a plot only for the tree itself between other plots that would be utilized in the normal method. So the current code says no tree, this is section 73-3, no trees or shrubbery of any nature may be planted on individual lots. So again, the current code prohibits this. So when this was proposed by a resident, so we talked about this at the staff level, we talked about the obligation. We do not, just to clarify and remind everyone, we do not have a perpetual care cemetery. Those are much more expensive. But our staff does maintain the cemetery, cutting grass, removing tree limbs, and things of that nature. Mr. Cates was of the opinion that this would not significantly impact the operations and maintenance of the park if we were to add or allow to be added some number of trees. As trees in the cemetery do get damaged or die, staff has the ability, as is also stated, to remove those plants or trees from the cemetery. But this is really for council consideration. Beyond that factual input from staff, there's really no decision one way or the other as to whether this should be continued in its current form with the code as is, or to propose a modification to the code that would allow for trees to be planted. Again, if that were to be proposed by council, staff does recommend that a tree planting require its own plot as to not intrude on
So why
other
was
groups.
this brought up as a discussion item?
Well, because if this were brought up as something to be voted on by council, I think we would need it in a resolution format or an ordinance format.
It would need to be an ordinance.
I understand that, but why, just in general terms, why has it come up for discussion now?
Well, because we had a request from a resident for this particular topic.
And it's written in code that no trees can be planted in the cemetery.
Correct.
So the question is, do we want to allow them to plant trees in lots that they have purchased? But they must understand that you can't have both a body and a tree in the same lot.
Right.
So either a torso or a trunk then.
Yes.
Um, my own opinion is that it's just, we have enough things to concern ourselves with that we just leave this particular one alone.
And Mr. Cates just pointed out to me, we would need to ensure other items like tree barriers and things like that so that the roots wouldn't intrude anywhere.
I was thinking that. How would that? Planting trees in the cemetery like that, I'm just wondering about the roots growing down, pushing into caskets and doing things. We should just leave it the way it is. That's just my opinion.
Any other council comment before I open it up to the public? Any public comment on this item only? Ms. Griffin? Glad to hear it.
Ann Griffin, 215 East Laurel Avenue, Howey-in-the-Hills.
Can you just pull the microphone down because I can't hear you very
Oh,
well?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Now, can you hear me? Yeah.
Much better.
Okay. I was on the board of the cemetery for years and years and years. It's very difficult for the maintenance people to take care of everything that people put out there as it is. This should be an absolute no. Yes, we want our cemetery to be pretty, but we donated all of the crepe myrtle trees. And it's impossible to keep up with all this stuff because they should be trimmed. And are they not going to bloom? You have beds that you have to go around. It's just very difficult. And I can understand where the man's coming from, but I hope you vote no.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other public comment? Anybody online?
Leslie Manning, 111 East Holly. I'll make it quick. So what was the reasoning behind it? For beautification purposes, green space? I mean, I'm a little confused. Why does a person want to plant trees on the lots?
This particular person had bought about a dozen plots for themselves and their
Right.
family. And they were just looking they had a group of them together and they thought, well, it'd be kind of nice to center it under some shade by using one of the lots for that purpose. That was the idea.
Yeah, I would be against it as well. I concur with Ann. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will say, this rule does prohibit trees from being placed in lots, but there's nothing against town staff, especially with our tree fund, from putting in trees in other areas for beautification as necessary.
Okay, I'll close public comment, bring it back to council. Any other comment? We obviously it's not a voting thing, but I would think that probably a straw poll on this in terms of whether it's something you want to pursue or something that you want to leave alone. Would somebody like to just?
David.
Mr. Arnold?
Oh, just leave things the way they are.
Tim?
It's going to create an issue 40 years from now. I'd say leave it alone.
David?
Same as the rest of them.
That's 5 out of 5. So we'll pass on that one, please.
Thank you. We will share that with the resident.
Thank you. All right. Department reports. You've had all of the reports itemized. Do you have anything either on town hall or under town manager?
Yes.
Which one you come under?
Yes, town manager.
Just for also expect to see a revised finance report coming out in the next few days as well.
So I will just go through some quick updates. So we already talked about Police Chief Giddens. Our new code officer started today. Today was his first day, Jacob Salas. Young guy, very enthusiastic. So he'll be jumping right into code enforcement. And we do have a start date for our new library assistant, which will be Wednesday, July 22nd. And her name is Lorelei Teninti. So, God bless you. Teninti. We do have upcoming workshops, 1 o'clock for each budget workshop, with lunch provided as well. Our next one being next Tuesday. And then subsequently Tuesday.
Next Tuesday is tomorrow, so a
Sorry.
week from tomorrow.
Correct. We've alternated council meeting weeks on Mondays with budget workshop weeks on Tuesdays. So correct, 8 days hence. And then following that, our third budget workshop will be Tuesday, August 11th, same time, same place, same lunch. We will have our public hearings for budgets September 9th and September 23rd, which is Wednesday, and that is at 5:05 p.m. Those public hearings are always at 5:05 p.m. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem Everline.
Yeah, I have a couple of things. One is I just, at break, I was looking around, there's grants available for the cybersecurity.
Yes, we were just made aware of those
I mean,
grants. and-
15 million bucks.
Right. I mean, that typically won't cover staffing, but it could cover some of the infrastructure
I'm just
costs.
saying, I
absolutely.
hope that we would apply for that right away.
Yes, those have been brought to the
Okay,
attention.
I also noticed
IP
that there are multiple firms across Florida that provide this stuff for municipalities, so. That would have been nice to have looked at those. I have asked the town manager 3 times to send us all emails when people are hired. I have still yet to get an email. I can't believe that as town councilors, we are not informed. I met the new building services person at the budget workshop. Had no idea who she was. I had to ask. That's just not good business. That's bad business. You want it, you need, if you want to have a community feeling, you have to be open to people. And along those lines, I continue to be asked by residents what's going on with the chief of police. This is going on for too long. The town needs to talk to the community, in my mind. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement, they had their investigation done, 2 months ago? So I don't even know what else another organization was going to come up with.
And I think our town attorney can address that point in particular.
Why can't people be notified about what happened?
They can, and the report should be done soon. Done with respect to the county is redacting out information that needs to be redacted.
But the county sheriff, it's my understanding that their law is for their investigation, whether to release it or not for our town to release information. We just can't release information about what their investigation shows. Is that correct?
So there's 2 things. The town will be able to release the investigative report. It should be this week sometime, I would expect,
Okay.
because they're doing that. And then the town was also going to put out, now that the investigation was complete by the county, a couple bullet points, which we're going to work on in the next day or 2 about what the reason was and why the investigation was done the way it was done. But it's going to be a very simple statement put out.
And the community would be made aware of what transpired.
There will be a press release when that's available, but until we have this redacted document, and we legally were not in any position to share anything, because again, the sheriff was working for us effectively, so their report, our report is one and the same.
But if a statement is made that there's no criminal activity, then it's the town's responsibility, correct?
To make a statement?
No, to whether to do something or not.
But that's
investigated with the sheriff.
now it's done. So now that process is completed.
My feeling, Heather, is by not being more forthcoming, you make people look like you're not doing something correctly. And that's what happens. And we have a tendency in this town to do that. We're not very transparent.
Well, I think that the fact that we are doing it correctly, Tim, is the reason why that there is nothing out there at this moment in time. I think as soon as we get the report from the sheriff's office, Heather, along with Sean, can work on a statement that then can be released to the public, which will probably be released through the news media because they've been all over this as well. I understand your frustration, but I think there still is a process.
But we don't, again, to clarify, we don't have anything in hand that we can share. And the sheriff just sat down with us this
I've been
past.
informed that that's not true. Things that I have, I could have shared and I didn't.
Not legally, you could not share them.
I think I could have.
I would certainly talk to the town attorney before you would consider sharing anything that you had.
I haven't shared.
But,
I
but
think
my
I
point
think
being-
I think the other thing is, Tim, that I would feel extremely uncomfortable for anything to be released until I've seen the report. I read the report from the FDLE, and that at that time it went from a administrative leave to an unpaid suspension. And so I don't want anything going out to the public and till at least this council has had opportunity to review it.
Yeah, those reports, if FDLE doesn't want to release that report, it won't go out. Same thing with the sheriff's report. That won't go out if they don't want to release it, correct?
Well, no.
Unless somebody actually requests it,
Oh,
correct?
sure. It's not I mean, it's a record, a public record, but someone has to request it.
Correct.
Of course.
But
And it's going to be redacted
Yeah.
to make sure
We're
that
working on
each of the
something
thing is coming out.
And just to be clear, FDLE is not going out of their way to share whatever they have, but that's been publicly available for some time. The sheriff's report is the same as our report, but once it's completed and they hand it to us, they will be able to share it by request, as will we. I preemptively, once I have it in hand, I've already started drafting a statement with the chief of police and the town attorney as to what we will say when we release the report. But again, we don't have anything to share at this moment in time. We're just getting ready for it. And frankly, I predict within the next 48 hours, I presume Lake County Sheriff's Office will be done. Whether they push it out on their own, that's totally up to them, but we are going to do a press release when we have it in hand.
I think also to Tim's earlier comment, I would echo what he's saying, that the town hall needs to keep council more informed about the people that are being hired. We know that you are hiring those people, but frankly, if a code enforcement officer turned up at my house because I got the sprinklers on and I don't even know that we've hired one, I don't think that's a good look.
And the residents also, put it online, new hire. Well,
Thank you.
I didn't think of it.
Is that it, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Councillor Arnold?
No questions or comments?
Councillor Miles?
I have nothing.
Councillor Lanneman?
Yes. Have a question in regard. I see that they did some cleaning over there by where the storage is. What is going on? And it looked like they even paved the road going through there. So what's going on?
I know Mr. Cates had reached out to them. I don't know if Mr. Cates has anything particular to add on that topic.
I did talk to the superintendent of that project. The developer of that project had put the company they hired to do the infrastructure work on hold. They have started back up. I did inform them that their silt fence and erosion control was lacking some things to bring them in compliance, and they are repairing those, but they're starting back up. They still are in the permitting process to get the buildings permitted. They had some issues with not having the plans matching, and we caught that. We and April and me and Kim all told them that this isn't right. So they're working on that, but they're going to move forward on doing all the infrastructure work and getting started back up again.
Okay.
But they have not paved the road.
Oh, no, it just looked like it's a path.
Well,
I guess
that's where Hillside Groves had, they're in there regrading because they were piling some fill dirt up and stuff. They're regrading that. And then Hillside Groves has cleaned up their area there, that big
I
section
know.
between there and the pines.
Thank you for that.
And they've seeded that, and they have, once that's seeded, then they can virtually remove their silt fence because they won't be any need for erosion control. But, and I don't know what they're going to do about moving forward on that anytime soon on that phase. They're still working on the other
Right.
phases before they get up there. So
Understood, because I think that's like phase 3 or 4.
Yes, it's.
So if they can just keep the area clean and it's just not overgrown, that would be fine. Those 2 trucks that are there, they look like they don't work. Are they usable trucks?
Well, I can't speak to a contractor's equipment, but they're older.
Yeah, they look like, yeah.
And I think maybe they were using them somewhere else, so they just.
See, every time I make a look and go down to Florida Turnpike. But for the most part, okay, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then my other thing is about the pancake house. I see that they're doing work and they've got the gravel and they put some chairs out there. So do we have an opening day?
I do not know of an opening date. I'm not very involved in the permitting. Last time I knew, there were about 18 items of permitting that they had to get resolved, but that was a couple of weeks ago, so they may have resolved all that by now. But I don't have an opening date.
Got it. One other thing, Morgan, do we know when they're going to go vertical on the storage? Are they going to do that anytime soon? Do we know? Okay, great. And the infrastructure stuff, but they're working on that. Okay. Thank you.
Did we get any kind of resolution to the situation with regards to the tables and chairs outside there, which is not allowed by code?
Yes, I believe the building official and the town planner talked to the business owner, and they removed those tables and chairs, so that's been taken care of.
Very good.
Is there a problem with that?
Yes.
What's the problem with having chairs out there?
Well, it violates code, and it also affects the wastewater capacity usage, so it would necessitate.
There were always chairs out there before.
Wasn't a restaurant though.
This is a change of use.
Are people gonna get served out there?
Presumably. But it would also change the wastewater use capacity, so that would also necessitate them buying more wastewater capacity to serve those customers because their ERUs are based on number of seats.
What if they're not being served out there? What if it's a waiting area?
It's
Well, I
based
think
on
the
number
code,
of
the code just says that they can't have tables and chairs out there. So
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There was always tables and chairs out there.
it's under a different use.
I can speak to that. It's a different life. The previous business was under the department, not the Department of Health, it's under the Deli and Convenience and Department of Agriculture, so the codes are different for that. So we were like, we didn't, different, and we didn't have wastewater issues, so like Dylan, we were on that.
But even before you had it, there were tables out there, Leslie. People would sit out there and drink coffee and so forth. I mean, it's nice to do that.
But it's a different use. That's what it is.
Anything else for the good of the order? No, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned at 8:16.
Sean,
Yes, sir.
I need to talk to you and Morgan for just a minute. Small things.
Sean, I'll catch up to you tomorrow.
That sounds good.